Okay, now we're going to harness the power of using this proportional approach to finding percentages to take on a few one-sentence problems using a format that whenever we're talking about a percentage, we realize we had a fraction. Remember, we were always getting a fraction over 100. On the other side, we had, this is a proportion, two fractions that are equivalent to each other. And what always resulted was up above the 100, that's going to be our percentage. On the other side, there was a fraction, and remember, a fraction is a part of a whole. I'm going to use sort of two approaches, so we could do that. It's the part in the top and the whole in the bottom. That's what a fraction is how many pieces of the whole do we have. So that's one way to visualize it. When we get to word problems, we'll oftentimes have the part referred to as is and the whole referred to as the of part. So another conceptualization is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, and then we're going to take the word problems, we're going to put in the three that we know. Actually, in this case, we'll only know two, because 100 is always going to be part of our story with percents. So we'll know two of the other ones, and we'll be finding the third one just using that same proportional cross multiply and divide technique that we used in questions 1 through 4. Okay, so this is our formulation. We'll start using that. We'll start off with question number 10. 10 is asking us what number is 70% of 40. Okay, so we start filling in our proportion. We know we will always have something over 100. We're given 70%. Percent always goes over the 100. Okay, now over here we'll have either the is or the of. What do we have? Of 40. 40 is the whole. And so what we're doing is, in this case, we're looking for the is part. So in this case, we are going to do the cross multiplying. So we always look for the ones that are cross or kitty quarter from each other. So we're going to take 70 times 40 and then divide by 100. So 70 times 40 divided by 100 is going to give us our answer. 70 times 40 is 2,800. When we divide by 100, we end up with 28%. Not 28%, sorry. We end up with just the number 28. That's what we have. We have 28 pieces out of 40. So that's 70%. 28 is 70% of 40. Okay. Let's see if I can get this next one right all the way through. 11. Okay, for 11, what number is 45% of 155? Again, starting out with our proportion, I like to always put down what I know. I will always know that 100 is involved. We're given a percentage, so that's always on top of the 100. And now I've got one number left, the 155. Where does that go? Is that an is or is it an of? Well, it's closest to the word of, and that makes it the whole. So it's down there. And again, we're looking for the part, the is. Cross multiply, 45 times 55. Then we'll divide by 100. So we do this as 45 times 155 and then divide by 100. 45 times 155 is 6,975. When we divide that by 100, we get 69. They didn't say whether to round it to one decimal place or two, so we'll just write the whole thing, 69.75. And again, this is not a percentage, it is a number. 69.75 is 45% of 155. We've solved that one. Let's look at 12. 12 is going to mix it up a little bit for us. So again, we're looking for a percent, so we know we always have it. It's two fractions with one having 100 in the bottom. So now the question is 155 is what percent of 155? What percent? That's the question. So we don't have the percentage in this case, but we have a 155 and a 225. 155 is the is part. So that's the part, and percent of, the of is the whole, 225. And in this time, again, we always go with the ones that are across from each other. That's the multiply part, and then we divide by the odd one out. So 100 times 105 divided by 225. 100 times 105 is going to give us 10,500. And then we'll divide by 225. Plug that in, and we get 67.7. Now in this case, it is the percentage. So we go ahead and put the percent sign in there. 67.7%. And yes, it's slightly incorrect to have a percent here because this is just a fraction, but it helps me to remember the percent is always over the 100. Okay, so this is the correct answer, 67.7%. 13. Okay, this question is 170 is what percent of 245? Again, we are looking for the percentage. So we start off with the two fractions, the 100 and the bottom. We don't know the percent. They didn't give us a percentage, so that's what we're looking for. We just have to figure out the other two words. 170 is, well, I shouldn't take 170, and is what percent of, the of goes in the bottom, 245. And you can pretty much consistently count on those words. Sometimes I won't use the word is, but you have to switch over to the part and the whole. Anyway, 100 times 70 once we get it set up, and then we divide by the odd one out. So 100 times 170 divided by 245. That gives us our answer. 17 0, another couple zeros, and then we divide by 245. And let's see, when we do that, we get the answer 69.4. 69.4%. And again, we were looking for a percent. That's what we got, 69.4. Okay. 14. Question 14. We've got 18 is 30% of what number? So again, a few different pieces, but I always start off, I know I've got two fractions. I've got 100 here. They gave us a percentage, so that always goes over 100. I like to put that one in first. And then I've got the 18 is, so 18, is it go in the top? Of what number? Of what number? The of is what we're looking for. So yes, 18 goes up here. And in this case, again, we cross multiply the two that are across from each other, boom, and then divide by the odd one out. So 100 times 18 divided by 30. 100 times 18 is 1800. When we divide by 30, plug it in the calculator, and that gives us 60. Yeah, maybe I didn't need the calculator that one, but it's an easy fix. Gets us the right answer. It's not 60% here, right? Because this tells me this is what I'm looking for. The 60 goes right there. And now we have two proportional fractions that work out. 18 is 30% of the number 60. One more in this series, so let's look at 15. And the question. 130 is 65% of what number? Okay, so two fractions equal to each other. 100 goes here. 65%, I see a percent. I know exactly where to put that. Nothing to even think about. 130 is over the of. 130 of what number? That's what we're looking for. Okay, and just like number 14, 100 times 130 divided by 65. 100 times 130 divided by 65. That's 13,000. divided by 65 gives us 200. Again, it's not 200%. It is the number. It's the of. It's what we have. We have 130 pieces out of 200 pieces as a total set.